So in this video, I will be deep diving into the biggest mistake anxious people make with avoidant people. And I just want to say real quick that the reason I will not be talking about the work the avoidant has to do for their part in the relationship in this video is because we are just talking about the anxious in this one. By no means does that mean I am saying that the avoidant doesn't have their own work to do. Obviously, every insecure attachment style has their own work to do. So I just wanted to say that real quick. Well, if you're new here, my name is Sarah Whaling, and I'm a certified life, trauma, and relationship coach. I am a former fearful avoidant who started my own healing work years ago. And then I got my certifications and I used my personal and professional experience with what actually works in healing. I tailor personalized plans for my clients to heal insecure attachment styles, healing from childhood trauma, heal wounds from relationships early in life or later in life with individuals with personality disorders that were damaging, or heal everyday pain points such as procrastination or mastery over your boundaries, all with incorporating the subconscious and unconscious mind, which is how we truly heal because that is where trauma is stored. If you're interested in one-on-one telephone coaching, please send me a detailed message on my contact page via my website, and you will receive a follow-up email which will include my session information. Now, jumping into today's topic. Now, this one thing that I will be talking about in this video is the biggest mistake because it is overarching. And if you are anxiously attached, it has big repercussions for you. So, what is the number one mistake that an anxiously attached person makes with an avoidant person? The number one mistake is thinking you can change the ultimate outcome of any situation with an avoidant by manipulating your own behavior for the sole outcome of changing the avoidant. Now, you might be scratching your head at this, thinking something along the lines of, well, what am I supposed to do with the information that I have once I learn what secure attachment looks like? The key is, instead of going through the motions of what secure attachment looks like, you need to do the deep inner work so that your subconscious mind is showing up from a healed, secure, authentic place. There is a very big difference between the mindset of anxiously trying to change an outcome with your actions and genuinely showing up that way with your actions. Now, some people do this by mistake because they don't yet know how the subconscious mind and unconscious mind operate. But real quick, the subconscious and unconscious is where trauma is stored. We use the principles of neuroscience to heal the same way that trauma imprinted us in the first place. We are imprinted by trauma when we go through an event, and strong emotion or repetitive emotion fires and wires neural pathways. You can picture these neural pathways as our core wounds and limiting beliefs, and these get hardwired into our brain. You heal in the same way, using your conscious mind to harness emotion repetitiously in various ways to heal these wounds. The brain is like any other organ in your body. Once you understand it, you can properly take care of it and live in a way which promotes brain health and mental health. Once you understand these basic principles of neuroscience, you can take control of your own narrative in spite of what you've been through. So why am I making a video about this? The reason is because this is something I see being the anxiously attached person's downfall time and time again with the avoidant and the relationship to themselves and a detriment to their own healing. Remember that I mentioned in the beginning of this video that this mistake has a lot of repercussions for you if you are the anxious preoccupied or the fearful avoidant leaning anxious. I want to talk about why it will damage the relationship to self, along with why it will damage your relationship with the avoidant. Manipulating yourself, bending and twisting yourself, and simply put, being inauthentic, meaning doing the opposite of what you feel subconsciously pulled to do, is an act of self-abandonment and an act of self-betrayal. This is why being subconsciously and unconsciously in alignment with what we actually want for our lives is so, so, so very important. If you want a super deep dive into exactly how to heal trauma, I cover it all from how the subconscious and unconscious work to very detailed how to's in healing in my video, This Will Change Your Entire Life Forever. And I encourage you to check it out for all the basics you will need when it comes to this. But I want you to understand that if you have an abandonment wound, which many fearful avoidants do, and obviously anxious preoccupieds do, you're hardwiring that in every time you commit the act of self abandonment. This self abandonment fires and wires neural pathways of the abandonment wound and keeps this wound alive. Obviously, this keeps you stuck, feeling worse with the avoidance coping mechanisms and needs, and keeps an unhealthy cycle alive. When we talk about reparenting, the essence of reparenting is giving yourself what you did not get. There are a handful of ways to heal the subconscious mind and reprogram, and this is the action or behavioral level of reprogramming and healing. So, the first thing that you want to do if you're trying to heal an abandonment wound is to cease self abandonment in every area of your life. This means really checking in with yourself and feeling and listening for what is really true for you and taking yourself into consideration along with the other people in your life. The same thing goes for the fact that this mistake is a self betrayal. If you have a betrayal wound or a trust wound, and for example, most fearful avoidants have an incredibly deep betrayal wound or trust wound, you want to notice in your life where you are betraying yourself, where you are betraying your trust, and stop immediately. Also, very important to say is the fact that when you are so concentrated on affecting the avoidance behavior and what the avoidant is doing, you get lost in the mix. You're not thinking about how you're feeling. You're not reflecting about if this person is even a good fit for you and your life. You're very much not meeting your own needs, which of course is going to put you in panic mode if you are solely seeking to get your needs met outside of yourself. This is another thing that keeps an insecure, anxious attachment style hardwired and gets in the way of truly achieving secure attachment and healing. Now that we've covered all of the damage this mistake does in relationship to self, I want to talk real quick about how this will damage your relationship with the avoidant as well. So much of the time, people can feel where you're truly showing up from. The mindset of this mistake in and of itself will trigger a dismissive avoidant and a fearful avoidant. No one likes to feel like someone is trying to manipulate them, but this will be a big trigger for an avoidant. It can touch on multiple core wounds that are common for avoidance, such as I am out of control, helpless, or powerless when they feel like this is an attempt to try to control them. It can trigger the strong trust wound of a fearful avoidant. It can trigger the I am trapped core wound, which is quite common for dismissive avoidance and fearful avoidance alike. Well, I hope that this video was helpful in explaining the mechanics behind generally the biggest mistake an anxious makes with an avoidant. If this video was helpful or interesting to you, please give it a like, comment, and share. It truly helps me a lot. And subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss any future content. Thanks for being here. Take care.